What up, everybody? Woo woo woo! YouTube live. Oh my god! I want to make sure I don't knock out my freaking microphone here. I'm like, knock it over. Um, so I just watched tonight's new episode of Euphoria. It's HBO's new series that I now am really loving. I love this show so much. God, it's like a freaking drug now. By this point, I'm like, oh, I want more of it. Like, why do I have to wait a week just for another new episode? Okay, so just a heads up, I'll be discussing spoilers in this video review. Heads up, this review is mainly for those of you, my fellow Euphoria fans, who have also watched tonight's crazy awesome episode. Oh my god! All right, I'm trying to come up with the right words. I'm gonna collect my thoughts a little bit here and you know uh, try to articulate my reaction or my response to tonight's episode. Um, the title is Shook One Part Two, which kind of is confusing because was there a part one or was like last week's? I mean, I thought every episode is interconnected. You know what I'm saying? It's like why the part two? I don't get that. If you understand it, and I'm like, hey Rama, this is why it goes over your head. Let me know, okay, in the comment section below. But yeah, the title is Shook One Part Two, and oh my god, it's the carnival. Oh man, and this is where all the shit is happening tonight. And you know what? Everybody's there in that one location at that one event. It's crazy. Everybody's there, man. So it's not like the episode tonight has to go jump from this storyline to the next storyline in another location to the next storyline in another setting. But no, it's all happening right there at the carnival, and it's just so the drama. Okay, I wanted to save this one best part for last, but you know what? Fuck it. Let's just talk about it right now. That part when Jules, yeah, that's her name, right? Yeah, Jules, played by Hunter Schafer, whom I adore, by the way. Oh my god. I know I told you that my favorite character is Kat, but I freaking love Jules too. I think Jules is so cool. Um, and so tonight, guess who is or who was? Let's just use past tense here. Who was competing in the chili cook-off? Yes. I'll give you time to. Okay, all right, fine. It's McSteamy. What's his name? Cal Jacobs, right? Dr. McSteamy from Grey's Anatomy, and we know that that's the same dude who banged Jules that one evening and at that motel, and of course he got a little bit pretty rough on her there. And but I think that's the thing. That's his style. I think that's the thing that got him off or gets him off. Like the pleasure of ruling over one spray, um, which is kind of fucked up if you think about it. But yeah, so Jules went to his booth and confronted may not be the right word to describe it, but basically she caught him off guard. Did you see the look on Cal Jacobs' face? Oh man. Uh, right, like as he turned around, because she says like, sir, can I have some chili? And then because his back was towards her, right? And then so he had to turn around a little bit, and then just the face just like went stone cold in the split second, like, oh my god, shit. And you can see his eyeballs going around, like looking. Is anybody seeing us? Is anybody seeing us? Oh, it was so priceless, so priceless. It was awesome. I love that part. And then he was like stumbling, like, oh my god, sorry, the chili fell. Like, oh, here, let me make you another chili. It's like, oh my god, my wife is there. Oh, that moment was precious. Was precious. Ah, nothing more precious than when a man is caught red-handed. I don't know, with his pants down, or something like tonight. We're like, oh shit, she knows who I am. She knows. She's seen my family. She probably knows where I live. It's like, oh, everything just like, you could tell the fear just like comes rushing down his brain, man, at that very moment. Oh, holy crap. Um, at the same time, though, Cal's son Nate, who's been pretending as Tyler all this time. Remember, what's his online name? A shy guy 118, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, he has a sort of like a crush on Jules, but at the end of this episode, we know that it's more sinister than that. But at that moment when Jules like met Cal, Nate's dad, you could see Nate just like keep staring at Jules the entire time, because Jules doesn't know that Nate, or at this point, Jules did not know that Nate was Tyler, but of course Nate knew the whole thing. And last week's episode, Nate's girlfriend, what's her name again? Is it Nadia? Sorry, I'm not good with names, dude. I apologize, but she found the photos of penises on his cell phone. Now, at first, I thought like, okay, were these the photos of penises that he sent to Jules, pretending that that they were his? But on second glance, like, oh no, these are like different kinds of penises. They're not all his own, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so, and we had this discussion, you and I, about how Nate is pretty much closeted, um, and that's not healthy. We had this discussion last week. If you don't embrace who you are, if you don't embrace your sexuality, if you keep that bottled inside, um, yeah, that's gonna burst out into something really not cool, man. Let's just put it that way. And what's fascinating is that he, because his girlfriend, after being dismissed by him in this episode because she dressed like, the way he said it, a hooker, um, he threatened her in that one hallway, right? It's like, you're dead to me. You're dead to me. Remember in tonight's episode? You've seen it. So, but the moment that she said, hey, I went through your phones and I saw those penis photos, guess what he did? Guess what he did? The same thing his dad did tonight after he got, I guess, after he met with Jules at his booth. He went to find the dad. Cal Jacobs went to find Jules, and then he said, like, "Oh, right now you have the power to ruin my life. If you tell anybody, that's it. That's the end of my family, my business. Please don't tell anybody." That's the same shit that Nate did. Nate says, like, to his girlfriend that, like, a second ago he had his hand around her neck, acting all tough, like, oh shit, you're dead to me. I can't believe you called my mom a cunt. But the moment that she's like, oh, I saw those penis photos, man, it cuts to him just crying, like, I'm going through a lot, I'm going through some shit. Come on. You can't do this to me. Please don't tell anybody about those penis photos. Oh man, what a crying bitch. Like father, like son. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, these guys who act like they're the toughest cookies because I don't know, just like in the case of Cal, or just because he owns half of the town, or Nate, because he's a quarterback, he's all this, poster boy for sexy jock. Dude, that is total facade, man. When you see that kind of people in your life, just believe that they're not as tough as they want you to believe. They're not as tough as they make themselves out to be. There you go. That's what I was gonna say. So, because the minute that you press a certain button, you know, once you know their secret and you hang that over them, you know, like semi threat, they cower because they're so afraid that their true selves will be outed. um because they haven't they don't want to embrace their true selves, because they know that if they do that, it, that's a lot of risk. They could lose everything that they've built over the years, reputation, business, what have you. But man, that is so sweet watching dad and son crying like a little bitch. Oh man, that is so. It's poetic justice, man. I can't seem to remember Nate's girlfriend's name. Is it Maddie? It's not Nady, right? It's Maddie, right? I think. Let me see here. Okay, Maddie. Yes, Maddie. Okay, I want to say a little bit about Maddie here. The way she dressed tonight, man. Look, I get that why some of us would say, hey, that's a little inappropriate for Carnival. Carnival's like a family gathering, right? But come on, who are we bullshitting? Even in Carnival, stuff like snorting cocaine happens. But back to the case of Maddie, her dress, or the way her outfit, I guess I should say, not dress, her very skinny, skimpy, revealing outfit. She reminds me of one of the characters from Mortal Kombat. Now I can't pinpoint the name of that character, but I'm sure if you look up Mortal Kombat video games, you'll find some of the female characters to be just as revealing as Nadia was in tonight's episode. The only difference is, of course, Nadia didn't have any blades to kill people with. But her outfit reminded me of that. That's what cracked me up. I looked at that, and I think she looks fine. She looks like when she said in the mirror room, with all lots of mirrors around, she's like, I look great. I'm not ashamed of myself. I want to show it off. And I was like, yeah, good. You go, girl. You show that off. Look at that. Look at the abs. Look at those legs. It's like, and she feels empowered by it. She's not ashamed of it. Why would she be? Um, you know, uh, so in that from that perspective, I'm like, yeah, you own it. It may not be to the standard of the Jacobs family, but if Maddie feels strong about her look, her outfit, hey, there's nothing wrong about it, man. And she looks like Mortal Kombat character anyway. Um, let's talk about the next storyline here. When it comes to Cat, my favorite character, Cat. Um, we in this episode we noticed. I think she had a crush on that one boy that, for whatever reason, kept bumping into her, like in the classes or in the hallways, and now in the carnival too. Man, so you start thinking like maybe this kid, maybe he's into Cat. And so in tonight's episode, it seems that Cat is taking a liking to him as well. I'm like, maybe there's something there. And you know what? I was like, I was okay with that. as a fan of the character Cat, I'm like, even though last week's episode, she's all like, she's like an entrepreneur, right? She's like a businesswoman trying to take advantage of people's horniness online. She's like, she's like, back in the day it was phone sex. Now it's like online sex, or trying to at least give the fantasy of it. And that's what she does. And she's making loads of money, cryptocurrency wise, because of it. And so in tonight's episode, she's taking a liking to this kid, and she misunderstood because she saw him from a distance talking to a hottie, like like your regular cheerleader hottie, and she thought like, oh, yeah, he's into that kind of girl. I'm I'm foolish for even thinking that he might like me. So he took it out on this one guy who supposedly has like a big dick. At least that's his reputation. And so they had sex. Um, and you know what? If you want to make a connecting thread between Kat and Maddie and what else? The other's names? Cassie, Kat, and Maddie, right? I would say that in tonight's episode, these three girls, they feel like their men left them to the curb, or kicked them to the curb, or left them to the dirt. Like Maddie, of course, obviously, and then Cassie with McKee not wanting to say that they're in a relationship, so that pissed Maddie off. Cassie off. I'm sorry. And then with Kat thinks that, oh my god, he just wants a cheerleader. He doesn't want me. So these three girls, what they have in common in tonight's episode is like, you know what? Fuck them. Fuck the world. We're gonna do some Molly, or I'm gonna fuck this guy. I'm gonna, take it out on him, or like I'm gonna. In the case of Cassie, I'm gonna get off while riding this Ferris wheel, and I don't know. I think specifically for Cassie, though, I feel really, really bad for her because she is. I know. I think it's because McKay could not get over the fact that the whole sex tape thing in the first episode. At least that's the rumor surrounding Cassie. But my God, man, if there's a girl that I would want to hook up with, um, in addition or aside from Kat, it's Cassie. Because Cassie, last week's episode, she was willing to drink that thing with the goldfish in it. She was like willing, like, hey, you know what? I'll drink it with you because you're my man. Like that says a lot, man. I mean, that says a lot about Cassie. And for McKay to still have doubts or to still be ashamed or embarrassed, like, oh, I don't want to say we're in a relationship because freaking Nate might make fun of us or talk shit. Dude, where are your balls, McKay? Where are your balls? Ah, dude, I'm so pissed off at Chris McKay. I really am. I really am. I really do think that Cassie is worth it. I think Cassie is a catch, and Chris McKay is a fucking idiot. That's it. I'm gonna say it. He's an idiot. and if in next week's episode, Cassie, I don't know, scenario wise, if Chris McKay comes to Cassie in next week's episode and it's like, hey, I'm sorry, trying to make up, hey, can we talk? And if Cassie falls for that, then she's an idiot. Because girl, you're better than him. Girl, you're so much more worth it than McKay, man. Ah, I would love to date somebody like Cassie. Um, what? Wow, what so frustrating, man. This character McKay. It's like you can't really make up your mind. Like, do you like this girl or do you not? Don't keep breaking her heart like that, man. You fucking idiot. Um, so that's all I have to say about about McKay. But back to Cat though. I want to, before we move on to Rue, um, Cat's story tonight is not as prevalent as last week's, and that's fine. Sometimes, you know, when you have an ensemble show like this, um, you have uneven presentation of some of the characters. This one week you'll have your favorite character get the most story. The next week your favorite character only gets a few minutes of screen time, and that's fine. Um, but I I don't know if you ask me what I want for Kat. I think I want for Kat to continue being a businesswoman, being an entrepreneur. I want her to like keep. Like, I'll show you guys. It's like you can make fun of me for my size, but I'll show you. I want her to continue that attitude. Um, this whole thing with this boy that may or may not like her. I don't know. It seems so. Why bank on uncertainty? You know what I'm saying? Just look at McKee. That guy's such a flake. Um, you have something going good for you, girl, cat. You have something going good for you. Keep making that dough. Keep making that money. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say about Cat from tonight's episode. Uh, in the beginning of tonight's episode, we also get to see a bit more of Jules' backstory when she was a kid and how she got thrown into this facility, the psychiatric facility against her will, and how her mom is just so messed up. She loved um, her dad more than her mom. As a matter of fact, her dad helped her transition. Um, and throughout the whole sequence, my heart just like broke. My heart broke for Jules, man. And to think that I'm sure that her story, I'm sure that her story is not unique to hers. I'm sure there's a lot of kids out there who've gone through similar experiences, where it seemed like, you know, and I'm not a psychologist here, but from what at least judging based on that whole sequence, like, and based on some of the experiences of people around me, usually when parents throw kids into psychiatric facilities or like uh to some sort of a treatment like that, they're saying, hey, I can't deal with this, I can't deal with my children, so you deal with them, you deal with them. I need to I can't have this headache, you know. That's basically what they're saying. And that's not cool. That's not cool. The signal that you're sending to your kids when you do that, that's messed up. That you're like giving up, like, oh, you know what, I can't, they're just too much. Dude, you see Jules in tonight's episode, she seemed like a very good kid. And the place, the psychiatric facility, is the one that messed her up. So yeah, dude, I I know you may not say like, hey, or you may say that, hey, Rama, you can't blame it all on the parents, but in certain cases you can. In certain cases you do. Um, but yeah, let's get to the next storyline before I conclude this review. Oh, sorry, before I get to the last part, which is Rue, I just want to say that whole thing with the carnival. Um, if you notice the music in the background, it's so it reminds me of that music. It sounds like that, right? And there's a little bit of in tonight's music has that Danny Elfman esque feel to it as well, with heavy emphasis on the drum and the percussion, and and I loved it. I loved it because the music sounds so or the music sounded so mischievous, like mischievous, like something really devious is happening or is about to happen. That's what that music. That's the vibe that the music gave me tonight, and I love that. Um, especially when Rue lost her sister, and you see the sort of like the dizziness around going happening around, like whoa, she sort of like panics. Oh my god, I lost my sister, and it sounded as if the music was also the tempo was kind of speeding up a little bit to it, and so it helped with the mood. Like, oh man, we have this place, the carnival, so crowded, jam packed with people, and and you can lose your way, or you can lose yourself in there, in the blink of an eye. Oh man, I loved it. I loved it. All right, so last part, Rue and her sister. Um, Her sister's played by Storm Reed. She is the star of A Wrinkle in Time. Um, and yeah, Uru lost her sister in the middle of the crowd, in the middle of the carnival, with all the hecticness going around. And ultimately, she found her hanging about with these bunch of kids, smoking pot, getting high. Now, you know me, I love pot, I love marijuana. I got no problem with it. But just like just like Maddie and Cassie and Kat lashing out in their own ways tonight, you can tell that Gia, Rue's sister, was also lashing out in her own way. She's like, "Oh, yeah, whatever. We're just chilling here. We're smoking pot." And then Rue's like, "Hey, come on, get up. Let's go home. Man, stop being. You're not my mom. That whole teen rebellious thing. Like, yeah, get out of here. I'm hanging out with my friend." But the moment that her friend dropped the OD bomb on Rue, that hit Gia. It's like, oh shit, you know, what did I just do? Um, but leading up to that point, just like Maddie, Cassie, and Kat, Gia was just lashing out. She seemed like, hey, like get off of your high horse. You're telling me to go home. You a drug addict, and I can't even smoke pot. But that whole OD thing, I think really, that's the one that what's the word I'm looking for here? It turned on in her because she saw Rue ODing. She witnessed that, and and that affected her, and affected their relationship as siblings. And so to her, that's the line. Like, oh, you can't make fun of that. I draw the line on that. You can't talk about my sister like that. So that turned on, and she got up and went home with her. Um, I I think my only comment about that whole thing is, um, again, in the previous episode reviews, I mentioned this already. I have two little sisters, and I don't know, man. I would not be able to imagine putting them in a situation where they are emotionally affected by whatever it is that I do. That years from now they're still traumatized by or triggered by some word like OD. Um, I don't know if I would be able to put them through that ordeal, or that type of situation. Um, Luckily, though, I think there's still hope for Rue and Gia as sisters. I don't think tonight's episode, the whole episode, hanging about with those kids outside the carnival, I don't think that would strain their sisterhood in any way. I think they really genuinely care. They really genuinely care for each other. It's gonna take so much more than that to actually, create a rift or create a crack between them. Um, but it, but that should, be some sort of a, like, not necessarily a wake up call. That should be the whole thing with Gia. trying to lash out at her by smoking pot like that. That should be some sort of a signal to Rue, like to be a better older sister. That should be. If that's not powerful enough, then I don't know what is. It's like, oh my god, I don't want my sister to turn into like how I was, a drug addict. Although again, marijuana, is probably the most beneficial of all this quote unquote drugs. So that should be something that really knocks through awake, man. It has to. If it doesn't, then I don't know what will. Oh yeah, last final point. I love that shot at the end, the rotating shot, because um, Jules and Rue are on the bed together and they started kissing, and the camera rotates, or at least the cinematography of it rotates, and then it shows they're hanging out at the locker, they're hanging out, or they're meeting for the first time. I love that. I love that. I think I've mentioned to you that that is one of the appeals of this show. It's so visually artistic, but it's not like, oh, just visually artistic for the sake of it. The story itself is compelling. The characters are compelling. So and they and like a drug, they want, at least for me, they make me want to know more about them. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I have to wait another week to know more of their stories. I was like, I want to see more. So visually artistic approach is awesome, but you cannot neglect the most important ingredient, which is the story. And I think credit to writer, director, showrunner, creator Sam Levinson for giving us such rich characters, such such riveting teen angst stories um, that may come across as fucked up, but addictive at the same time. It's this is drama at its best, man. This is teen drama at its best. This is not Riverdale. This is not CW. This is HBO teen angst drama at its best, and I can't get enough of it. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention Nate. The encounter, Nate encountering Jules in the dark. He reveals himself tonight as Tyler, or like he says, "Hey, I'm the guy who's been texting you." And at one point, I thought that Nate was gonna be expressing some sort of feelings for her, like, "Hey, can we make this happen between us?" But bam, just like that, he turned sinister, bro. He turned evil, and he threatened her. And then, of course, she told him, like, "I think you are just like your dad. You know, both of you are F words." And that really pissed him off. Oh my god. Oh, the winner of tonight's episode is Jules. I gotta hand it to Jules, man. Um, she she made, or she triggered both Cal Jacobs and his son Nate Jacobs in the most glorious way. Oh, I love Jules. I love Jules. So tonight is episode 4. Um, there are 4 episodes left. There are only 8 episodes in the season 1. Um, yes, I already watched the episode. It's on HBO every Sunday at 10 p.m. right after Big Little Lies. Now I'm gonna go watch Big Little Lies or the rest of it, and then come back and give you my live review of tonight's Big Little Lies episode. So thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in to this live review of Euphoria season 1, episode 4, titled "Shook One" Part 2. If you've seen it as well, if you also seen tonight's episode, do you agree or disagree with my assessment? What did you think of tonight's episode? I want to hear your thoughts about them. about the episode. I'm sorry. I want to hear your thoughts about it right here in the comment section down below. And as always, subscribe to my channel, press that like button, ring that bell. And if you can help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. God, I love this show. I freaking love Euphoria. Such a fantastic, fantastic show. I want it to go on forever. All right, as always, let's rock this.